What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? As you can see, I'm still in the Philippines, man. Check this out, check this out. Hey, David Chappelle destroys woke culture. Don't miss this. David Chappelle is talking about the woke culture. Hey, got the baby in the background. The power just came on. They had these things called blackouts, y'all. So I'm a little bit under the weather because the wifey done turned the AC on all night long in our room, and I am, Jesus Christ, I am stocked up. So y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out. Here we go, y'all, here we go.
But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset.
They tried to cancel the greatest comedian alive. Netflix employees walked out, Twitter exploded, and the media declared his career over. But Dave Chappelle did not back down. The moment he stepped on stage, next changed everything. Here is what really happened. Dave Chappelle is not just a comedian. He is a cultural phenomenon who turned down $50 million to protect his integrity. That alone tells you something about the man behind the microphone. So when he decided to take on woke culture, everyone knew something monumental was coming.
He knew that I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. Now, I'm not going to go all into it, but Jim Carrey is talented in a way that you can't practice or rehearse. What a God-given talent. I was fascinated with him. And Norm knew that. And he called me up and he goes, Dave, he says, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, fuck, yes, I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. And the movie was called Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this. And in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. Yes, and Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. I didn't know that. When they said cut, this nigga was still Andy Kaufman. So much so that everybody on the crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and when he walked into the room where we were supposed to meet, I screamed, Jim Carrey! And everyone said, no! Call him Andy. And I didn't understand. And then he came over and he was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman. Just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hello. Andy? Now.
Oh, Lucas. Had to go get my hat. I forgot the hat. Gotta have my hat on, y'all. Here we go, here we go.
In hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed in one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. But as it was happening, I was very disappointed. Because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey, and I had to pretend this nigga was Andy Kaufman all afternoon. And he was clearly Jim Carrey. I could look at him and I could see he was Jim Carrey. Anyway, I say all that to say, that's how trans people make me feel.
It started with his Netflix special, The Closer. Chappelle opened with what seemed like a simple story about meeting Jim Carrey on the set of Man on the Moon. Carrey was so deeply immersed in playing Andy Kaufman that he refused to break character. Chappelle, a huge Jim Carrey fan, wanted to meet his hero, but instead got Andy Kaufman. This story set up what would become one of the most controversial comedy specials in recent history. Then came the punchline that sent social media into meltdown. That is how trans people make me feel. Simple words, but they hit like a thunderbolt. The impact was immediate. Netflix employees staged walkouts. Activists demanded the special be removed. Opinion pieces flooded the internet, condemning Chappelle for what they called hate speech. But Chappelle did something unexpected. He doubled down. In his follow-up appearances, he explained how modern society confuses discomfort with actual harm. Just because you are offended, he said, does not mean you are right. This became a rallying cry for comedians tired of walking on eggshells.
See, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. That's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's.
His take on what he calls the alphabet people particularly struck a nerve. Chappelle pointed out how different groups under the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer umbrella are not actually one unified movement, but rather different letters traveling in the same car. This observation highlighted the complexities within identity politics that many prefer to ignore.
People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me, and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's.
The beauty of Chappelle's approach lies in his masterful storytelling. He does not just make jokes, he weaves narratives that force you to think.
When I watch sports, I be thinking about, think about, okay, say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA, or, because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game?
Take his bit about LeBron James hypothetically changing gender. On the surface, it might seem offensive, but dig deeper and you find real questions about fairness and equality that nobody else dares to address in mainstream discourse.
You know, you hear all those letters together all the time, LBGT, LBGT, and you think it's just one big movement. It's not. All those letters are their own movement. They just travel in the same car together. And my guess is...
What makes Chappelle truly different is his ability to find humor in complexity.
What
That's fact.
does
That's
it
facts,
actually
though.
mean to be equal?
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, if women are actually equal to men, then there would be no WNBA, would there? You would just be good enough to play in the NBA with us. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
When discussing Caitlyn Jenner winning Woman of the Year, he does not mock her identity. Instead, he questions the irony of someone winning in their first year what others spend lifetimes working toward.
Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person, Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit, she's better than all of you.
This distinction is crucial to understanding his comedy.
Never even had a period, ain't that something? Oh, I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, and the winner for of the year, Eminem, my man.
His comparison between Rachel Dolezal and transgender individuals showcases his nuanced approach.
Ain't that in the news all the time? Rachel Dolezal. She always says that. She's a white woman, but then she dressed up like shot her way up to the very top of blackness. And I always wanted to meet her just so I could understand. I just wanted to have dinner with her so I could just look in her eyes and call her to her face. The fuck is that talking about? I identify black. That is trans talk, ladies. Stop biting. Stop biting.
While he might not understand either situation fully, he acknowledges the profound difference between someone who claims an identity and those who make life-altering changes to live authentically.
Big difference between her and a trans. The difference between her and a trans is I believe transgenders. I don't understand them either, but I know they mean what they say. Them niggas cut their dicks off. That's all the proof I need. I've never seen somebody just throw their dick away. Don't need it.
This differentiation demonstrates his ability to think critically while maintaining his comedic edge. Chappelle's critics often miss his deeper point. He is not attacking any particular group. He is questioning a society that demands absolute acceptance without allowing for discussion or understanding. As he puts it, I do not understand all of this, but that does not mean I have to be angry about it. This sentiment reflects a more nuanced position than his critics often acknowledge.
I feel bad for teas, but they're so confusing. And it's not all my fault. I feel like they need to take some responsibility for my jokes.
The mainstream media tried painting him as bigoted, but they missed his consistent message. Respect does not mean you cannot joke about something. In fact, being able to laugh together might be the first step toward real understanding. This philosophy has been consistent throughout his career, from Chappelle's show to his current stand-up specials. What really got under the skin of woke culture was Chappelle's absolute refusal to apologize. When confronted about his jokes, he simply stated, I am not saying these things to be mean. I am saying them because they are funny. And if you cannot see the humor, maybe the problem is not the joke. This unapologetic stance became a template for others facing similar criticism.
Because I didn't come up with this idea on my own. This idea that a person can be born in the wrong body. But they have to admit, that's a fucking hilarious predicament. It's really fucking funny. And if it happened to me, you'd laugh, wouldn't you? That wouldn't be funny if it happened to me? I think it would be. What if it did? What if I was Chinese, but born in this body? That's not funny.
His perspective on identity politics is particularly sharp, informed by his own experiences as a black man in America. He points out the absurdity of hierarchical oppression, noting how everyone is fighting to be at the bottom. Nobody wants to admit maybe we are all struggling together. This observation cuts to the heart of current social justice debates.
And for the rest of my life, I had to go around making that face. Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese! And everyone get mad. Stop making that face. That's offensive. What? This is how I feel inside.
Chappelle's approach to controversial topics reveals his strategic brilliance. He often starts with something seemingly simple, then peels back layers to reveal deeper truths. His joke about identifying as Chinese while being in a black body is not just shock comedy. It is a clever way to explore the complexities of identity politics. The response to his specials proved his point about outrage culture perfectly. People who had never watched his comedy suddenly became experts on his intentions. Clips were taken out of context. Headlines screamed about controversy while ignoring the nuance of his arguments, and social media erupted in predictable outrage.
The G's are driving that car. That makes sense to me, because there's white men in the G's. And these people are trying to get around discrimination and oppression. And you know how white dudes are. We know these roads. In fact, we built these roads. The rest of you buckle up. We'll get you to where you want to go. So the G's are just driving the car. Of course, next to the G's in the passenger seat is the L's. Everybody likes the L's, except for the G's. I don't know what that's about. I just know the G's don't like them that much. And the G's always say like little subliminal digs on them. It's unnecessary shit. It's not mean, but you know what I mean? They just be like, I wouldn't wear that.
But here is what makes Chappelle truly dangerous to woke culture. He cannot be canceled. His fan base is too loyal, his influence too significant, and most importantly, his arguments too reasonable. When you actually listen to what he is saying, it becomes difficult to maintain the outrage. His influence extends beyond comedy. Chappelle has become a voice for those who feel silenced by current cultural norms. His willingness to tackle taboo subjects has inspired other comedians to be bolder in their material. This ripple effect has begun to change how we discuss controversial topics.
If it's one thing that the L's and the G's agree on, is that the B's are fucking gross. They seem greedy to the L's and the G's, you know what I mean? They're just sitting in the backseat like, yeah, man, I'll fuck anybody in this car. What's going on, man?
Crazy.
And sitting next to the B's, all the way in the back seat by themselves, looking out the window. That's the T's. Everybody in the car respects the T's, but everyone also resents the T's. It's not the T's fault, but everyone in the car just feels like the T's are making the trip take longer. Anything the T's say gets on everybody's nerves. And then the T's don't even say anything bad. They just be in the back talking to themselves. I'm hot. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, okay? Just roll the window down, you bitch. I don't know what you... What? Just said I was hot. Could you pull over at the next exit? I need to use the restroom. There is not a restroom for you for 4 states, nigga. Will you just shut the fuck up so we can get where we're going?
The way Chappelle handles criticism is particularly noteworthy. Instead of engaging in Twitter wars or making public apologies, he addresses his critics through his art. Each new special builds on the previous ones, creating a larger narrative about freedom of expression and the importance of comedy in social discourse. His insights about corporate activism are especially biting. Chappelle points out how companies profit from social justice movements while doing little to address actual inequality. This observation extends to his criticism of Hollywood's selective outrage and performative activism. The comedian's take on cancel culture is equally profound. He argues that the real problem is not offensive speech, but the attempt to silence dissenting voices. They want to silence anybody who does not say exactly what they want to hear, he observes, highlighting the authoritarian undertones in modern progressive movements. What many miss about Chappelle's commentary is its ultimate goal, pushing for genuine dialogue. Through comedy, he creates spaces where difficult conversations can happen. His jokes serve as entry points into deeper discussions about race, gender, identity, and power. His impact on comedy cannot be overstated. By standing firm against pressure to conform, Chappelle has helped preserve comedy as a space for dangerous ideas and uncomfortable truths. This stance has made him both a target and a hero, depending on who you ask. The aftermath of his Netflix specials revealed something important about modern discourse. While Twitter mobs raged and think pieces multiplied, ticket sales for his shows soared. This disconnect between online outrage and real-world response exposed the limitations of cancel culture.
And they've canceled people that are more powerful than me. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. So I looked it up.
That's crazy.
TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. This is a real thing. This is a group of women that hate transgender. They don't hate transgender women, but they look at trans women the way we blacks might look at blackface. It offends them. Like, ooh, this bitch is doing an impression of me.
This brings us to perhaps Chappelle's most important contribution, demonstrating that it is possible to discuss sensitive topics with both humor and insight. His comedy proves that laughter and learning are not mutually exclusive, even when dealing with the society's most contentious issues. Through it all, Chappelle maintains his position as comedy's philosopher king, using humor to expose truths others dare not mention. His battle with woke culture is not just about telling jokes, it is about preserving the right to think and speak freely in an increasingly restrictive social environment. If you enjoyed watching Dave Chappelle expose the absurdity of woke culture, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We bring you more unfiltered truth from comedians who dare to speak their minds. See you in the next video.
Yeah, that's crazy right there, man. David Chappelle, y'all know how Dave does. But that's a good point, man, because it's like you could talk about police officers, you could talk about fire engine, you could talk about everybody else. If you do a gay joke, Arsenio Hall said the same thing. It's a joke. It's a joke. If you say 3 gay guys going down the road, it's a joke. Oh man, don't talk about gay people. Kevin Hart learned the hard way also about the gay thing. Long story short, don't talk about them, man. They are getting loud. That's the family, y'all. The family's getting too loud. The family's getting too loud. Nah. Hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Shout out to the love to the Philippines. Peace out.